この2人の場合はご覧の通りで。
ご注文は？
シャンパン。
And yes, us bartenders, we can tell that you're on a first date. What's up guys, it's your boy Alan again, back with another video, and today we're gonna watch some Japanese animation. This anime series is called Bartender, and it's about cocktails. So this is gonna be part 2 of this series, so if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, click on the link on the description below. And once again, before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and let's go check this out.
モスコミュール、ジャック・ローズ、ニコラシカ、それともキール・ロワイヤル。すいません、メニューあります？ところが返ってきた答えは
申し訳ございません。
So, some craft bars in Japan, especially like really small ones, they don't have any cocktail menu. It could be as small as like 5 or 6 seats. It's just guests and the bartender. And basically, you just talk to the bartender and the bartender will come up with a drink for you based on some questions.
バーにはメニューがないかあってもあまり出すことはありません。なぜならお酒をよく知らないお客様に文字を使ってお酒の名前だけ並べても無意味だからです。
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know a lot of these ingredients, and sometimes when your menu is too big and you have all these ingredients that the guests never heard of, it intimidates them and makes them not want to try the drinks because they don't want to order a drink that they don't like. And a lot of times they're so afraid to ask questions. Whenever I design a menu, I always like to mix it up, putting both interesting things that would bring up conversations, but also familiar ingredients. So even if you have 1 or 2 items that the guests might not know, the other ingredients are recognizable enough that the guests will have an idea what that drink might taste like. Don't put too many ingredients that most people never heard of, because now you created a menu that just might be too intimidating for people to try out.
そしてシェイク。
So if you look at the shaker, in Japan, they like to use the 3-piece shakers. That's historically what we used to use, but we kind of moved into the 2-piece shaker. And the reason for this is American bars tend to just deal with way higher volume. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of Japanese bars are really small. They don't have a lot of space, so they're not going to have a lot of guests ordering like drinks nonstop like they do in American bars. You'll still see the 3-piece shaker used in some homes. So it's going to be a tumbler, the lid, and the lid will have a perforated opening on top to strain the drink, so it's almost like an included strainer. And then you'll have the cap on top, and the cap sometimes has measurements, so it can also be used as a jigger.
来島様がこのアフロディアをお飲みになられていたのは戦後の冷蔵庫も氷も貴重な時代。それゆえ
Even today, a lot of Japanese bars don't have ice machines because there's not a lot of space. With the exception of hotel bars, most bars are going to have large blocks of ice that they have to cut down themselves into cubes. The US was one of the first countries to have access to ice, but even then, ice and drinks were reserved to the wealthy. They didn't have freezers, so they would literally have to harvest ice from frozen lakes, store them in ice houses, and use them for drinks. The first punch bowls didn't use ice at all. What they used was hot water in place of ice.
昔通りのお酒と思い出。おじいさまは良いお酒をお飲みですね。
でも、
So here's a random fact. In Japan, the word sake means alcohol, even though we kind of associate it as the rice wine. So what they call rice wine over in Japan is actually nihonshu, which means Japanese wine. So you might hear them use the word sake in this animation. It usually just refers to any alcoholic beverage.
幼い頃のものなので、はっきりとは。
それではお探しのボトルに関して、例えばワインのボトル。
もっとゴツゴツしていたような。
ゴツゴツ。
Oh my god. This is the Suntory Kakubin. It's bumpy because it's almost shaped like a turtle shell.
だとすると考えられるボトルは一つ。
それじゃ
同じものがこの店にも一本残っています。
私の前に。
Don't tell me I got it right. That's the Suntory Kakubin.
金次郎はイギリスでスコッチ作りを学んだ竹鶴正隆を招き、京都山崎に日本初の蒸留所を作り上げる。
So Suntory now has 3 distilleries. They have the Yamazaki, which makes the unpeated single malt, and then you have the Hakushu, which makes the peated whiskey. They actually do a little bit of mixed. They do unpeated up to several range of different peat. And then you have the Cheetah distillery, which makes more of the grain whiskey that's used to blend the whiskeys. So depending of what Suntory whiskey you're getting, the Toki, the Hibikis, there are different blends of different ratios, different levels of peat between the whiskeys of the 3 different distilleries. They got the hand-cut ice sphere too.
とこのようにゆかさんの合コン連敗脱出をかけたバーデビューが始まったのですが、この2人の場合はご覧の通りで。
ご注文は？
シャンパン。
And yes, us bartenders, we can tell that you're on a first date.
今の季節ですとシャンパンもビールも美味しいですが、こちらのシードルはいかがでしょうか？
シードル？
どうぞ。
すっきりしてフルーティー。
ワインとは風味が違ってリンゴの酸味がフレッシュだ。
Yeah, I would say that apple cider is a very good transition for people who don't like sparkling wine or people who want a gluten-free beer. Like, why would you drink gluten-free beer? Just drink cider. They've been making it way longer than they have been making gluten-free beer. So people have mastered it already.
全然盛り上がらないじゃん。彼つまんなそうだし。
悪いのは僕です。だって女の子が喜びそうなことを全然。
It's crazy. I've seen so many bad dates working behind the bar. And it's like, you don't even know what to say because it's like, well, we can't just pretend to not listen, but we can hear everything because we have to pay attention to the guests. And sometimes it's like, you guys should just go your separate ways.
今お話ししていたのがこのカルバドス。イングリッド・バーグマンが凱旋。
So Calvados is also an apple product. It's a type of brandy. When people think of brandy, they're usually thinking about cognac, which is technically true, but the definition of a brandy is technically distilled wine. Wine is an alcoholic fermentation of a fruit product. So if you think of cider as being a type of wine because it technically is alcoholic fermentation of a fruit, then Calvados would be distilled cider.
これにレモンジュース、グレナデンシロップ。本日はフレッシュがありましたのでザクロジュースを加えて
Jack Rose.
お客様と相談してお作りいたしました。どうぞ。ジャックローズです。
Yeah, people don't really order that in the US. I don't know why. It's a freaking delicious drink. I guess because a lot of Americans don't really have access to Calvados. But you can find a place with Calvados. Hopefully some kind of artisanal grenadine, not the Rose's, grenadine, which is just red colored simple syrup. Give it a try.
バーテンダーさんも最初からいろんなつながりを考えてお酒出してくれたんですね。本当お任せしてよかった。
You shouldn't be holding the martini glass like that. You gotta hold it by the stem. Otherwise, you're just gonna warm up the drink.
あれ絆創膏？
さっきちょっと。
ゆかさんっていっつも擦り傷作ってるよね。ほんとわんぱくな子供みたいだな。
わんぱく小僧で悪かったわね。どうせ私なんかいい女とは無縁ですから。
Uh-oh, he messed up. Should have kept his mouth shut.
よろしければ次はお二人でカルバドスの香りもお楽しみください。
That must be some high-proof Calvados. Room temperature alcohol won't catch on fire unless it's at least 100 proof, which is 50% alcohol.
さすが神のグラスね。お見事なサービスでした。
いえ、すべては偶然です。
So funny, like even in the US, we bartenders kind of judge other bartenders, especially when we know each other. We give each other's constructive criticism.
でもこういうところで何を頼んだらいいかわからないし。
いえ、そういう注文でいいんです。あとはバーテンダーが最高の一杯を作る。
それがプロの仕事。
So usually if a guest doesn't know what to order, especially and they're intimidated by these craft cocktails, first thing I ask is, what do they drink. Usually people will have some idea what they like, what they don't, and you can also judge by their response on their experience level with cocktails. Like if they say Long Island iced tea, kamikaze, or Jaeger bomb, you probably can tell that they're new to cocktails. The other question I would ask is if they want something that's spirit forward or citrus based. Spirit forward meaning more of like a stiffer drink, like a Negroni, an old fashioned Manhattan. A citrus based drink, which is gonna be more lighter, like a daiquiri or margarita. I would say that most people who are new to craft cocktails, it's probably safer to go with the citrus route.
笹倉さん、それは？はい。これから作るカクテルはフランス語でビジュ宝石と言います。
So bijou is another cocktail that a lot of people don't order. In San Francisco, green chartreuse is pretty common. So that's probably the toughest ingredient that you're gonna need. So it's gonna be gin, sweet vermouth, and green chartreuse. So it's almost like a variation of a sweet martini or a Negroni. But the green chartreuse is gonna be higher in proof. So you wanna be a little careful with that. It's going to be 110 proof, so 55% alcohol. It's flammable stuff.
ジンの白がダイヤ、シャルトリューズのグリーンがエメラルド、そしてベルモットの赤がルビー。
へえ、世界一高価な宝石たちか。
So it looks like he's layering it, which this is technically called a pousse café. Usually this is not how I would prepare it. I usually will put them all and stir it and serve it with a big ice cube.
ありがとう笹倉さん。でももういいの。この人にはわからない。
わからない？僕酒の味はうるさいよ。
でもあなたは何も気づかない。笹倉さんは気づいたからこのカクテルを作ってくれた。私が言い出す前にあなたが気づくように。
Wait, because she's not wearing her wedding ring?
名前はビジュ宝石。
久しぶりに会った他人が気づくのに、あなたは半年前から私が指輪を外していることに気づかなかった。
You've got to be kidding me. Is she gonna divorce him? Awkward.
愛情のない宝石ならグラス一杯のカクテルの方がよっぽどいい。
さよ。ねえ。
She's gonna serve him divorce papers at the bar? No, why do this at home? It's gonna be so awkward for the bartender. And you're the only customers here, so he has to watch this whole thing happen?
お客様はこの美獣のもう一つの輝きをご存じないようです。
Yeah, that's how I would make it. Yeah, I don't know if I would drink that pousse café room temperature. Like usually I stir it to chill and dilute it. Because the green chartreuse, as I mentioned, 110 proof, it needs dilution. The alcohol content is too high. Hey, if you enjoyed that, don't forget to check out these other videos as well. And please leave on the comment section on what videos I should react to next. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.